Hey guys, welcome to another one of my videos. I'm the Worm, this is the Proton. Today we're going to be doing an Atomizer slash dripper Genesis thingy bobby. We did get this one free of charge again, but it's another one of those ones that got sent to us by one of our Facebook group users, and we've got to send it back unfortunately, so it is what it is.
It is what it is. What we're doing today is the AIOS clone. Okay, AIOS clone. Neil sent this down to us to have a play with. He bought it from Tech or FastTech or whatever you want to call it, fasttech.com. Go on there, check them out. You all know about FastTech by now, I'd imagine. But that is what it is. Price $12.32 for this sort of hybrid adapter for the Qi. It is Genesis, bottom fed Genesis, as well as a dripper which can be used for mesh, silica and cotton, of course, which is awesome stuff. What we're going to do, we're going to go down a very quick show and tell, guys. We're not re-wicking this on camera, basically because Worm doesn't really like re-wicking on camera with mesh, and I certainly don't, especially with this kind of setup. So we're going to have a little play with it off camera. It is a bit finicky, but you will see that on camera why we don't want to do this one. So there you go. But yeah, we're not going to do it on camera, so we'll go down, we're going to have a little shot, and then what we're going to do is our traditional massive flap on the other side of it. So yeah, we'll go down now, guys. Right guys, hello. Right guys, quick look, sort of close up of the AIOS. It's a clone, guys. We know this. Let's crack on. Basically, we're just going to run you through it very briefly and have a little show and tell. So AIOS in tank form will look like this. Okay, and obviously the idea that this is going to replace your top cap of your Qi or Qi clone to make it like a hybrid, if you like, and it still gives you that good stuff, airflow control and all that kind of stuff. So that gives you your look as is when all assembled. Wicked stuff. So we'll take it off and break it down a little bit. First of all, you've got your battery adjustment here. Unlike the top cap, obviously being a fixed unit, you only need one level of battery adjustment, which is the bottom. So fairly simple stuff. Just adjust your battery when you screw it on like you would with a top cap. Easy peasy. Right, AIOS itself, you've got top cap here, 510 connection, had no problem with any of the drip tips that we'll talk about, guys. You've then got an external tank section there. Alright, easy stuff. Then inside you have this little piece, that is your tank itself, okay, and to fill it, just, I mean, I'm guessing that grooves in there for sort of 20 pence a piece or 50 pence a piece to tighten it up or whatever, or 10 cents or a euro, whatever you've got, and then, bush, you pour it into there once your wick's installed. But that is your little tank in there, so lovely stuff for that. Then I always struggle with this bit, trying to get this undone. There we go. And then basically what we've got is deck. I actually have left the coil in there in a minute. Deck, fairly simple stuff. Positive and negative post, one shorter than the other, because obviously this is a vertical core design. Ignore the insulation being a bit melted. That was Neil with his low res builds, I'd imagine. And then you've got your airflow control ring that pops on and off just like it would on the actual top cap of the Qi. So that is pretty simple stuff. What I will mention, a couple of little ickle bits and bobs. First of all, we'll screw this on. If you screw it all the way up, this may not be the same on all of them. If you screw it all the way up, I don't know if you'll be able to make this out just inside there. You can. If you see where your air path is, that's not always screwed up. So if I then give it a last little turn, and then you've got your air feed nice in front of your screw where you don't want it, which is bad stuff. So just make sure that when you're putting this in, your air feed's in line with your coil, like so. Alright, so just bear that in mind. Obviously don't just do it up tightly and assume your air hole's going to be in the right place. It's not going to be necessarily. This is tank and dripper. In dripper mode, you've got that bit there, your little top screws on. I mean, that is tiny. I like it, to be honest with you, I don't want to lie, but that is what it is. Maybe not for mesh for me, but silica I could definitely get on board with that. Right, in terms of everything about this build, weight, to be honest, it seems spot on. It feels like it fits in style with the Qi. It feels like it does what it's supposed to do with the Qi. It feels like it's made to match the Qi, which obviously the genuine one is, and this one is the same. Screw threads are all pretty bloody good. We're not going to stick a coil on this one, guys, purely because one, I'm not a big fan of the setup, and two, I just don't like working with mesh on camera, to be honest with you. As simple as that. But effectively your mesh goes in your insulation and up. You then slide your tank onto the mesh like so, obviously with this piece installed. Had I not just thrown it, sorry guys, useless as always. This piece installed, you then, on goes the tank section, like so. Once it's in there, that's your chamber, that is it, okay. Your vape will come up through these 4 paths, that will slot on the outside, like so. Okay, so your vape will then come up around the outside of that tank, and then out through your drip tip. I mean, obviously you've got your standard stuff on here, stainless steel, brass contacts, wicked stuff. So what we're going to do is I'm going to stick a little wick into this now, and then we're going to do our little review outside and have a little flappery doogan. So here guys, back up to us now.
Alright guys, that was the up close of the AIOS, and yeah, like we said, we weren't really working on camera. Mr. Proton had a little crack at it. As you can see, we're in different tops today. We've been snipping and snopping between bits and bobs, and yeah, Mr. Proton had a go at it today with the mesh. Dry hit galore, let's put it that way.
I wasn't happy.
I took it off him, I had a little look at it, and I was like, nah, I'm not even going to try. So we stuck it in dripper mode, and
yes,
well,
there you go. Yeah, basically guys, we've stuck it into a drippy dingle. Alright, it's very, very small in dripper, nice small chamber and stuff, so why not, do you know what I mean, just as opposed to sitting and getting yump. So that takes on to probably the first, what I would call, issue with it, is that wick hole. I know it's designed obviously to give you a continuous flow of juice, it's not too much, but it needs to be bigger. If this was mine, I'd drill that straight out to 3mm without even thinking about it. I'd stick a drill bit straight through that, and give yourself a decent amount of mesh to work with. If you're limited in space because your screws are only so far apart and you've only got sort of this much height to wrap a coil in, so you only get say 6 wraps if they're really close and all this kind of hoo-harery. But that's what I would do, I'd drill it out straight away. When I first got this, tried to use cotton in tank mode, so basically sort of did a cotton wick and threaded a little bit through, allowing for it to expand, and found that the cotton would saturate really well, but it just would dry hit again. It was alright for about 10 minutes, and it got to the point where I even took the cotton out of the tank completely, so it was just a tank with a hole at the bottom of it just dripping onto it. It even still managed to dry hit like that, so the hole definitely needs to be bigger. This is a cotton build now in a dripper. I've had it working as a tank with mesh briefly, but it's only ever seems to be briefly. It's not something that I've sat there and spent hours of my life playing with, but I've spent enough time playing with it to give an opinion based on what the vape's like, because it doesn't matter if it's saturated or not, if the tank's working, you can tell what the vape's like when it's wet. And also gives me an idea of how much stress the build would be on it. So that is what it is.
So in hindsight guys, definitely not a Genesis style tank you want to start off with.
No.
Not even one that, I don't want to say advanced users, but known to Genesis build users, you know the way around a Genesis Atomizer in general. Even they may want to steer clear of this thing unless you're willing to put in time or seriously mod this to your specifications, like Mr. Brown said, drill it out of the bottom.
That would be what I did.
Can't recommend it for the Genesis style tank mode.
No, it's the problem is because it's so small, you can't even get anything in your. I mean, even a paper clip would struggle to be inside your wick. And I mean, I've tried the T method, so you or an L, so you cut the top part of the mesh sort of say this long, and the bottom part say this long, to give you a thinner at the top but nice and fat at the bottom for juice retention. And it did work. It did work just fine. But it's still. Something didn't seem right to me. Now whether that's just how this thing vapes, it's been a while since I vaped on pure mesh, but I did set up an RSST with mesh the other day and I vaped on that just fine all day. So it just seems slightly not as saturated as it should be. Okay, it seemed like it was getting juice to the wick and it wasn't dry hitting necessarily, but it wasn't where it should be for the sweet spot. So that is what it is. It's a bit of a pain in the ass to set up, but hey ho. In dripper mode, it's fairly similar to an AIOS as opposed to you run a vertical coil as opposed to a horizontal one. I mean, you could run sort of a slanted coil because you're opposed to different size. but that's up to you. I mean, realistically, you can look at it and decide what you want to do with it in dripper mode. You could get jewels in there, although you've only got one set of air holes. Obviously, the advantage of it being in dripper is that, one, it's easy, two, it's small. If you had that in 350, you're talking the mod being that big with an atomizer on top. You're talking, I mean, you wouldn't even, I could hold the entire thing in my hand with drip tip, you wouldn't even see it, which is good stuff.
And can't be used on any other mod though?
No, it can't. No, it can't. It's just literally, it is literally cheap. No, that's not true.
Surely.
Caravella. Caravella. We use on the Caravella as well, but that is what it is, guys.
It only really fits the cheese style. I mean, any other mod, it really doesn't fit the mod itself. I mean, you could use it, yes, like you said, on the Caravella, but that's one other mod.
I mean, it's for the Chi, it's made for the Chi. You expect to only really use it on the Chi or the Chi clone. This is a clone, obviously.
Should we go for our 5 point?
Let's do it.
Looks. In Genesis style, don't like it at all. 2. In dripper mode, I think it's actually quite nice in dripper mode, actually. It's actually quite a good looking dripper. 9.
For me, I like the looks of it all round. It's my kind of thing. In Jenny mode, I'm going to give it a 9. In dripper mode, I'm actually going to knock it down slightly, so I prefer it in Jenny mode. I'm going to give it an 8. But that is what it is. So yeah, that's how much it looks.
Looks is just a personal preference thing, guys. So if you don't like the look of it, don't buy it. Simple as. Usability in Genesis mode, 1. If you're lucky and you get it working first time, it's still a 1. If you're still a pain in the arse with the mesh and you got to do different lengths and different thicknesses and just to line it up with the hole, and then once you put that juice in, you ain't taking that sucker out without it leaking everywhere. Trust me, we found out today. Yes, in Genesis mode, a 1. In dripper mode, well, it's like any other dripper really. It's not hard. 9, 10.
Okay, usability. In Jenny mode, I'm not going to go as low as a 1, because as far as I'm concerned, a 1 would be something like Killer with the telescopic tank. But it is a solid 3, 3.5 at best, really. For me, it's not that it's undoable. It is doable, but to do that each and every time you wanted to, it's just such a pain in the arse. For me, I can deal with things being complicated if their rewards are really, really worth it. But they're just, the vape's very good, but it's not like the world's best vape. That I like. It's
quite
not best
cool.
Vape. Yeah, it's a very cool vape, but it's not the best vape I've ever had. And I'm sorry, but to put up with the amount of crap you have to do to get this to where it is, it would have to be the best vape I've ever had, because this is more of a pain in the arse than a resin IRS build, in my opinion. Anyway, in dripper mode, it is IGO simple. Okay, only thing you need to bear in mind, same as in tank mode, to be honest with you, is that depending on where your air holes are, make a note first of all, and what you're using to wick as well. And then make a note of where your air hole is, screw it on, and make a note of what side and mod the air hole is going to fall on, and then obviously put your wick and coil on the relevant side, because otherwise you'll have your air hole further away and get a cooler vape and less vapour and more throat hit and all that kind of bad stuff. So yeah, but in dripper mode it's a 10. It's just as easy as using a dripper. Well,
I gave it a 9 to 10, mainly because you can only use it on certain mods. So that's my thing on usability. But maintenance, Genesis mode, everything's pretty big, to be honest, for maintenance. I mean, there's not really much except for the adjustable screw at the bottom that you could lose for your battery rattle. Other than that, everything's pretty much easy, big and chunky to wash. Got the screws, but there are screws in everything, let's be honest. You obviously tighten them up before you wash it. Yeah, even in Genesis mode and in dripper mode, I think it's a 10 for maintenance in terms of washing and maintaining the actual device itself. If you add recoiling into it, obviously Genesis mode drops again, but you can give your own mark on that on how you find Genesis and drippers basically.
Maintenance, I agree. I'm just going to give it 10s across the board. Apart from obviously when you're in Jenny mode, it is a bitch. It's just as simple as that. I mean, the advantage is once you've got a really good core on a mesh, you should be able to leave it set there for at least a good couple of weeks. But even still having to do it twice a month would be enough to put me off of it. So that is what it is. Yeah, 10 for maintenance, barring Jenny.
Flavour and vapour.
Should we do build quality price since it's a clone?
Yeah, I think I should drip it first since I haven't actually tried it in dripper mode yet.
It's dripped. I'll go into build quality price. Build quality price, obviously we don't tend to do this for X, but because it's a clone we're going to. Build quality, I've got to say it's spot on. I really have. There is not one thing I would thought about this. The insulator was a bit melted because Neil melted it. To be honest, in dripper mode, I actually removed that insulator altogether, and I probably wouldn't tank mode as well, just because you have a bigger weld to sit that mesh in. So that's spot on. Threadings are lovely. Air hole, you have to leave it slightly undone by about 1/5 of a turn to get it where it should be, but that's not a big problem. That would happen with most devices, to be honest with you. O-ring seems solid. Everything's screwed together tight. It's heavy. It's thick. It does exactly what it's supposed to. Build quality is getting a 10. Price, the price, so called $12.50. It's $12.32 down at $12.50. I would pay £12.50 for that as a dripper, just for the cheap, without a shadow of a doubt. So the fact that you get the option for a tank, excellent. I mean, to be honest with you, what I would probably do and how I would use this is, like I say, drill it out to sort of 3mm. It would never have mesh in it. It would be a pure cotton build. I'd feed it through the top with cotton, and I think I'd be more than happy with that amount of wicking to the cotton, and I think that'd keep up just lovely. That's how I would use it, and for that alone, it's cheap.
Yeah. Build quality is a 10. It's solid. There's nothing in there that's falling off easily.
If you've got the cheap clone, it is built to match. It's built as well.
It has got a bit of a shine on it compared to the actual Chi body, but it's only a slight shine. I think once you've used it for quite a while.
There's two versions on there. I think one is the like the slightly polished one, and one is a slightly more brushed one. The Chi's, they're very, very, very similar, but
it is what it is, guys. But other than that, yeah, the build quality is amazing. 10 for its price. Same as Mr. Proton, really. It's in dripper mode. I'd pay 12 quid for a good dripper. It's an excellent dripper. 10. I mean, in fact, you get your Genesis with it. It's just a bonus, really. I mean, I wouldn't really use it in Genesis unless I drilled it out. But it is what it is, guys. Flavour and vapour. The vapour of it is actually pretty good. The air hole has got a nice draw on it. I wouldn't say it's cloud level, but it's
not bad though, is it?
It's not a bad lung pull on it, so it's all right.
1.4ish, I guess.
It's nice. So the amount of vapour you get off is obviously depending on builds and juices, but I think overall it's about 10. It is up there with all the good ones, and that it's producers. I mean, it just is going to perform. The flavour of it, it's good. It's not as good as other drippers I've tried. It is slightly dulled. I mean, we've tried this menthol in another tank and another dripper and that, and the flavour did come through a lot stronger, but I'll still give it like just touching 9.
Sorry, just whilst I'm in my head, build quality very, very briefly. You have got a massive well in here, guys, because the air holes are raised up, and so is your coil. You could probably get about 15 drops in this, no problem at all, which is one I think I just wanted to point out. And also, even in dripper mode, you've got adjustable air feed. I'm not saying you regularly see on drippers of this price, so even if you take the tank out of it, if it's just 12 quid for the dripper, that's not something you regularly see. Flavour vapour. Vapour, I've been able to do decent lung hits without a problem, and then obviously you can then tighten it up and you get more flavour and less vapour. So it's kind of adjustable, and that's going to make your marks depend on where you've got that adjustment. If we tighten this up, the flavour would be more intense, and so would the throw hit. Vapour's getting a 10 because it can cloud. Not low res stupid cloud stuff, but it will definitely give you a decent cloud. And
as standard as well.
Yeah, standard. Yeah, no problem whatsoever. Flavour, at the minute, as well, it's about 9. I reckon it's got potential to be a 9.5. But to be honest with you, in our opinion, the best flavour in a dripper comes from air feed under coil. Always will, until something comes along and we go, wow. But nothing has been able to match a dripper that's got a feed from underneath the core directly. But for a side fed air feed, I go W4, WL, all them kind of AGI dripper, it is on par with those for flavour. The vapour's slightly cool when you've got it open wide, because obviously the air holes are bigger, but yeah, no, definitely. It's 10 potential, but at the minute it's a 9.
Yeah, overall for this, put everything in, if you paid £12 for this, even if you just used it in dripper, you would be more than happy. I mean, that Genesis, the bottom core Genesis style Genesis tank, yeah, it's a pain. I'm quite sure if you modded it or worked it out or persevered with it or whatever, yeah, it may be excellent. But even at £12 for the dripper, there's not many other drippers out there. Most drippers are around about £12 to £20 for the good ones anyway, for like average prices and that, unless you want to pay high end money for like your Tridents and stuff. But for your mid-range sort of drippers, spot on, you cannot knock it for that alone. I would recommend it. I mean, the tank is just a bonus, really. I mean, if you don't use it, you don't use it. If you do, and you get on with it, hats off to you.
There you go.
10 overall.
For me, overall, 1250. When I first used it as a dripper, not as a dripper, sorry, as a tank, I was like, I don't want one of these at all. Using it as a dripper, I am considering buying one of these. I would pay £12.50 for this as a dripper alone, nothing else. If that stuff didn't come with it, I'd pay £12.50 for this. Purely because, I mean, we order 22mm drippers to go 22mm, or we try to go 22mm mods and so on and so forth. To get a hybrid look on something, I think that's worth paying for, because a 510 to 510 year, okay, that's fine. This fits flush on the cheap. What else is it going to fit flush on? Okay, maybe the Caravella clone and whatever else, but it's still not made to go. So for that, I'm definitely considering buying one of these for dripper mode only. It's well worth £12. I would say it's worth twice the price, easily. To be honest with you, I know Jenny's a pain in the arse, and the other thing out there, dripper to Jenny, really. I mean, you've got a few, but AGI springs to mind, dripper to Jenny, and I would take this over the AGI. Yeah, I can't not recommend it if you want a decent dripper, because it is a decent dripper. It looks lovely on the cheap. Bear in mind, guys, it will not fit on this cheap, okay? It will not fit on the cheapo cheese that are on there. It will only fit on the sort of the 15 quid plus ones. The
laser etched ones, basically.
Yeah, laser etched. It'd fit on the brass ones as well. You could put your brass locking ring on here and sort of chop and change whatever you've got. But yeah, no, I definitely would give it £12.50 of my money anyway.
Especially if you've got the Qi as well.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course, yeah. There has been no issues with battery adjustment, even on smaller and slightly bigger batteries. It's taken everything as it should. What can you say? We know it's a clone, but it's a clone to fit on a clone, and we've done the clone run 150 million times now. It's your choice, your opinion, your money. It doesn't bother me, really, to be honest with you. It is what it is. Definitely deal with it, guys. If you don't like our opinion, that's it. But yeah, give it a go. Give it a go. It's worth it as a dripper alone.
Big thanks to Neil again for sending this down again. Obviously, you've been sending us a lot of stuff. I don't know what you want, Neil, but you ain't getting it. Yeah, so big thanks to Neil again, and obviously Facebook and Twitter is going to be down the bottom down there. Yeah,
FastTech Redugan will be over there.
But you all probably know about that now, so get yourself over there, get yourself a nice couple of cheap mods, and have a good Christmas and that.
Indeed. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I've been Mr. Proton. It's been well. See you soon.